and of brass, and iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men.
And slaves and souls of men. So this slavery is taking place in America as we speak.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That sex trafficking thing, that's slavery. Then you have these sweatshops where they make people work, you know, in bad conditions, you know, and they don't pay them much, if they pay them at all.
And there's a reason why they allow the Mexicans, the Latin tribes come up in here. You know, it's all they don't want to bring them Mexicans back because them illegal Mexicans or them illegal aliens, excuse me, that brings down. In other words, if you need them for a construction crew, you don't got to pay them, you know, $35 an hour.
No.
You might pay them $10 an hour, $8 an hour, and they happy with it.
Yep.
And they'll work, and that's slavery right there, man.
Yep.
They don't want to bring them. If you notice, Trump hasn't been really talking about that wall too much. When was the last time he spoke about that wall?
Yeah. Well,
you know, it's all bullshit, man.
Now they trying to find budgets to build it now. They were talking about it today, and it's like you said, it's all bullshit because at the end of the day. But
didn't he say that Mexicans was going to pay for it?
Right, exactly. Now they're trying to find a way. They cut some budget. They say that we need that money to put towards the wall, but he said that the Mexicans was going to build it, showing you that it's all bullshit, man.
This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Yeah, and then they do a lot of that stuff too for that MK Ultra thing. Like even like today, earlier read in, you know, I don't know if you brothers heard about it. It's another bitch that went by the White House and tried to run a cop over, and they shot her up, and they ain't shoot her.
I didn't know if it was a woman or a man. It was earlier.
Yeah, a black chick, another black chick.
Another black. Okay, it's always a black woman.
You know. That's the second time that happened, man.
Yeah. There's some strange things going on, man.
They're all down in D.C.
Especially if you're down there in D.C. Captain Tazariak, watch your back, man. They like grab you up, brother.
Get out.
And as they tell you, they made the movie Get Out. You need to get out of America.
Come.
So now let's move on to the next subject, which is the Nigerian. Yeah, a lot of these Nigerians are actually Israelites. I would say the majority of them.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some research here and there. And you know what I found out? Well, I already knew that this guy Morgan Freeman, he's Nigerian. Queen Latifah is Nigerian. There's this rapper / singer named Well. He's Nigerian.
Wale.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you know, I'm like Mo. You know that boy, that rapper? Well.
Nah, I felt that.
Hey, brother, I'm not into hip hop. You know.
Come.
Hey, when hip hop came about, I was a youngster, man. So you get tired after a couple of years, after so many years. Man.
That's garbage,
you know,
anyway. Now.
You know that boy, Well, Evie.
Yeah,
and Wale. Nas is a Nigerian of the Yoruba tribe.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, Forrest. Well, I've been through that for years.
Donald
Faison. You know that guy that in what's that movie?
Winsanity. He does Winsanity.
Yeah. The movie he played in. What's that movie with Whitney Houston?
Waiting to Excel.
Waiting to Excel.
Oh, Take Dick? No, not Take.
No, Waiting to Excel. He was the son of this guy, the tap dancer. What's this dude's name?
Oh, Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines. And he found out his father was a faggot and he lost it. That guy's Nigerian. He got a Nigerian name. He uses his, Hollywood name, but he has a Nigerian name.
Idris Elba.
Chiwetel.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, that
I found out earlier this morning that John Amos, the famous John Amos from Good Times, he's a Nigerian, man.
Yeah.
He's a Nigerian.
Yeah, when you watch Nollywood, they got Nollywood.
Yeah, Nollywood, yep.
Nigerian
Hollywood. Yep.
Come on, most of them actors and actresses, you can see that chick. Act just like the nigga woman and the nigga man.
And they got communities of Nigerians here in the States, man. They got a big community of Nigerians and down there in D.C.
Yep. I got a quick precept. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Yeah, so you got some of them got tribal marks. They speak in that particular language, you know?
Yep. Got another one here. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Yeah, and another thing, we have a lot of Nigerians, people of Nigerian descent, that's in GMS.
Yep.
A lot of the brothers in the London camp.
Yeah, Washington camp, up here in New York.
A lot of them are so-called Nigerian.
This is Hosea 8 and 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. You know? And then, you know, you if you ask these clowns, where the hell did the so-called white men, the Arabs, and the so-called Africans get Jake to bring over here in slavery?
West Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, mainly Nigeria, Sierra Leone,
Ghana.
Yeah.
parts of Ghana.
But now, how did they get into Africa? They fled from the onslaught of the Romans. They've been in there for the last 1,500 plus years.
Yeah, even before then, and they knew that in the scriptures. What's that? John 7 and 35.
Yeah, I was going to even quote that.
Oh, come on.
James 1 and 1.
Yep.
12 tribes scattered abroad.
John 7:35.
Scattered abroad. What does that mean? And then in Matthew, what is that? 24 tells you Yahushua when he comes back, he's going to gather his elect from the four corners of the earth. So what the hell is that?
Yeah, like they took every Israelite out of West Africa. They just extracted them all and brought them all over here.
No, a lot of them stayed in Africa and a lot of them stayed in Rome. You know, that's why Israel looks like everybody. You got a lot of Israelites that look like they got blonde hair, blue eyes, look just like the devil.
Okay.
And why does the scripture say that Yahushua going to gather his elect, which are Israelites, from the four corners of the earth? Because Gehenna would tell us, he'll act like all the Israelites are right here in America.
Yeah, he'll say
they're all going to be gathered from
that's
America.
That's why you gotta listen to the true men of the Most High.
Yep.
The men of great millstone.
That's right.
And Yahushua ain't supping with
Fact.
that.
Facts.
Yahushua ain't supping with that clown.
That's right.
He clearly tells you in Revelation, Yahushua has to sup with you, meaning work with your mind and you know, open up your mind. He say, I stand at the door and knock.
Yep.
If any man here, I will open, you know, and sup with him. So Yahushua ain't supping with that fat clown. I'm talking about Gehenna. He's nothing but a clown, man. Yeah, he's a black man. Like you always talking about black people. That's him. He's a black man.
And we're not black Israelites, man.
That's right.
You know?
Get that out your vocabulary.
We're not black Israelites. We're Israelites.
That's right. And Israelites can look like any nation where they were scattered. You can have an Israelite look like a goddamn pygmy, man. if they were scattered there.
Well, we know one that's a pygmy. My man.
The
Baby
guy that
chief,
came last
baby
last week.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pygmy, man.
You know, the imp.
Oh, the imp.
Oh yeah, him too.
Pygmy. He's part pygmy. He's mixed with pygmy.
Yeah, he's mixed with Elam, okay?
All right, go ahead, read on.
This is St. John 7:32. The Pharisees heard that the people murmured such things concerning him, and the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then said Yahushua unto them, Yet a little while am I with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. You shall seek me, and shall not find me, and where I am, thither you cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, Whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles? Because you had Israelites that was scattered amongst these Greeks.
That's
you know?
right.
And among all those nations. Why do you think in Acts the 2nd chapter, if we could get that, Acts the 2nd chapter, you had Israelites coming from all the different nations where they were living at. They knew they were Jews, they knew they were Israelites, and they came to Jerusalem to keep the customs. But then you had other ones that was mixed around there that didn't know they were Israelites.
And then
You know?
that goes back to the curses too, which cuts this guy. What's his name? Dr. James White, the Edomite. It cuts him because one of the curses was that the nation of Israel would be what? Scattered among all the nations. That's Deuteronomy 28 and 64. So the Lord shall scatter you from one end of heaven even unto the other. So that's a curse right there. So he's talking about the curses don't fit us. We're scattered all over the world among every different nation.
Yep.
That's right.
That's it, brother.
And in Nigeria, you got a large community that know that they're Israelites. I mean, they don't have the full truth like the Lord gave us, but they know that they're Judah. Some of them know that they're Benjamin. The Igbo, right, or Igbo, however you say it,
Igbo.
right? The Igbos, they know.
Get it right, true.
You know? Yeah, I keep messing up. I called this one chick Igbo. She said, no, it's Igbo. Igbo.
Which means Hebrew.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
You know?
I got something real quick.
Straight.
I looked up that word dispersed, which we've looked it up before.
And get over here.
And the word dispersed in St. John 7:35 comes from the Greek word diaspora.
Now, do you know the Yoruba?
Yep.
Yoruba, they have a diaspora too.
Yep.
If you Google Yoruba diaspora, it talks about that. That's Jake right there.
Yeah.
And they, when you deal with them, they deal just like Jake. They got the same spirit. I'll be working for. I know one. He just called me the other day. You know, Adi, whatever his name is. But his son's a good soccer player. They play professional soccer. They're into the scriptures. You know.
Yeah, man. They dance like Jake.
Dance like Jake.
Talk shit like
Yeah, talk.
Foods,
Yep.
The
Yep.
foods they eat, just like Jake. They eat the same,
Yeah, the brother just put up a video where they show these Nigerian children dancing and they getting down,
They're
man.
getting down.
Oh,
They
yeah.
ain't no Hamite, man.
The Gawa thing.
I forgot the name
Yeah,
of the
they
dance,
call
but
it
they was
Gawa.
getting down.
Those steps are too tight.
Yeah.
Hamite.
And then the girl, she got up in there, she started getting down.
Yeah.
Then they started doing like a routine together.
That's Jake, man.
This is from the word diaspora or diaspora, a scattering, dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations. You know, so when you look at the history of just dealing with the Roman Empire, when they during 70 AD. When they came, they brought the onslaught on Jake back then. They fled into the interiors of so-called Africa,
And that's why Yahweh Shai told him that too. He said, "Flee ye into the
Flee
wilderness."
into the mountains and flee into the mountains and out into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Because they knew that they
Well,
were.
it said that we were scattered. Revelation 12.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Yep.
You can get that.
Revelation 12.
Yeah, man. So Jake was always.
And this is
scattered,
why
man.
these born againers, I call them, these grape juice drinkers. That's why they come and confronting us now, man. Because hey brother, I did a video entitled "If I be lifted up, I shall draw all men unto myself."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, if you notice, when we, set up them camps, being that it's getting warm, watch how big these crowds are going to be. There's all kind of people. There's people that watch us on YouTube, and they compelled to come and confront us, man. Whether to see us, whether to confront us, and debate with us, So we're lifting up the Most High, and the people are following, man. And we have a rep for going out all year, all winter long, all summer long, fall, spring. We're known,
I got a quick precept before I read Revelation 12.
So we got to be the men of the Lord.
That's right.
Gots to.
This is Luke 21:34. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive.
By the edge of whose sword?
Romans.
The Romans. Yep.
Yep.
And I'll give you a date, 70 AD, really a couple of years before that, because that was a number of years from 66 AD, even past beyond 70 AD. got the whole event of Masada, where those particular Israelites had a suicide pact. They didn't want to die by the hands of the Romans, so they committed suicide. You know, and then the ones that took heed to what the Lord, our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai, whom we worship, by the way, he gave you the prophecy about 40 years before it happened. And the ones that took heed to that prophecy, they fled.
Yep.
Keep going straight. Go ahead.
It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
So we're literally all over the place.
It says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Yeah, so our land is being trodden upon, and we being trodden upon. Tell you in what was that, Isaiah 51st chapter.
All right, this is Revelation 12. I guess I started at 1. Revelation 12 and 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. That woman represents the nation of Israel.
You can't get
it says, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. That's Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Stay.
Which that?
Yeah, who's that? G-man? Who's that? Who's that vocab? Who's that Dr. James White, the Edomite? What's that all about?
That's the Antichrist.
That's the Antichrist? And I did a video, man, on the Antichrist.
Yeah.
The Antichrist, what was it? What is it?
Yeah, what is the Antichrist?
The Antichrist, what is it?
Yeah, come.
And I broke it down crystal clear for you. If there ain't no one man wearing a suit, you know, with the 666 tattoo on his head, that's the Antichrist. See, that's in the realm of fantasy.
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead.
It says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. That's dealing with the dragon. That dragon was the Roman Empire.
That's right.
It says,
third stars. That was
the Judah, Benjamin, Levi, kingdom of. That's why you got to know history, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Yeah, when Jerusalem was sacked.
Well, that was during the time of Herod.
Herod, yep.
Yeah.
And then that was during the time of Herod, and when the Romans set up Herod as the king of the Jews.
Yep.
At the great slaughter.
Yeah, because he was under the rule of the Romans.
Yeah, he was set up by the Romans.
It says, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered.
Yeah, which is the Roman Empire, because the power behind Herod was the Roman Empire, the Roman military, the Senate, the Caesar. Go ahead.
Yeah, because he was erecting different statues and stuff, even around the temples of Jake, and Jake was mad, about that. It says, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Yeah, the heart is Israel as a whole, and the child is Yahweh Shai. So Yahweh Shai was born out of the children of Israel. It's not talking about an actual woman.
It says, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Yahweh Shai.
And her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne.
So that covered from the time he was born till the time he was put to death.
Yep.
And when he rose back up, stayed with the apostles 40 days, and then went up into heaven in the cloud, which is the so-called UFO.
Yep. It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness.
The woman ain't talking about no woman.
Right.
It's talking about the nation of Israel that was in the land of Israel. And it wasn't talking about the whole nation of Israel. It was talking about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the ones that, was up on that prophecy.
It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness where she hath a place prepared of the Most High.
Yeah, the wilderness is Africa, and then they went up into Europe, but a lot of them went into Africa, and they went as far west as they can go.
Yep.
Where a place was prepared for them. That place was America. To fulfill the prophecy that we're going to come over here and serve slavery.
Yep.
Going back to Deuteronomy 28.
Yep. And all those curses.
You see how everything comes together?
Yep.
See how everything comes together? The pieces of the puzzle are coming together, man. And you elite, you know about that, man. So you're trying to upset the prophecies. And you cannot upset the prophecies, man.
Can't do it.
Yeah. And you know what's heavy about this is that they said that was the third part of the stars of heaven. That they were brought to that place. So where the rest of the other tribes? They were already here. The place where the Lord brought the three tribes to. They were already in this place. It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness.
Yeah, no, we're going to go up and then we're going to turn back around.
Where she had the place prepared of the Most High, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days.
How was we fed? Go to Deuteronomy 28, 47 right quick.
Deuteronomy 28.
That's why we got jobs. That's why we got welfare. That's why we got Section 8. That's why they give you certain grants. All right?
Got some?
Yeah, real quick. Second Ezra 16 and 40. O my people, hear my word. Make ye ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. You know? Meaning you're gonna be moving around. You're gonna be traveling because the enemy's gonna be coming. You know, the curses back in Deuteronomy 28 chapter. The Lord said He's gonna bring up a nation of fierce continents. So that's why you had, and that happened back during that time of the pagan Roman Empire. It's happening today. So that's why that's how Jake got scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. You know, the scriptures tell you too, be ye pilgrims upon the face of the earth.
All right, this is Deuteronomy 28:47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron.
Yeah, so everything that you got, the shoes that you wear, the socks that you wear, the hat that you wear, the food that you eat.
Yep, the house where you live.
You got to go to the supermarket, you know? You got to go to this man's doctor. Everything you got.
Your car, your whatever. It says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
And when you go to Google and you just put the word yoke of iron, you're going to see a whole bunch of pictures of Israelites in slavery during the time of the transatlantic slavery and the effect of them being in slavery, man. So you can't get it. Everything points to the scriptures that we are the children of the Most High.
That's right.
Facts, baby. Facts. Go ahead.
It says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
That nation is Esau, and that verse goes into the Romans.
Yep. It says, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil.
And that's going back and forth. That's going back to Israel when the Romans came up against us. When we were in Israel, when the Romans came up against us, and then jumped to America.
God.
They ain't talking about no damn Assyrian captivity, even though that was part of the curse.
Or the increase of thy kind, or the flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee.
Yeah, that's when we was in Israel. That's when during the time of the Flavian dynasty.
And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
That gates is what? Jerusalem was a city. So anywhere Israel had a city, they had walls. They had walls, gates.
God.
So that's talking about back there in Israel. Go ahead.
until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Because in the ancient world, they had the cities were encompassed, circled by walls,
Yep.
Yeah.
and the gates of the city, the opening of the gates.
Yeah, like Jericho. Good example
That's
is
it,
Jericho.
that's it.
Had the walls.
That's
the
it.
walls of Jericho. Yeah.
That's it.
Wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy power hath given thee. It says, and thou shalt eat of the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy power hath given thee in the siege and in the straitness.
Yeah, tell them what it means.
This is talking about cannibalism. You know, when you were in a siege, you know, you ran out of food.
Yeah, because the Roman armies didn't allow anything to go out, leave out of Jerusalem or any city that was set up, and nothing to come in.
Yep. And those are those.
So they caused them to starve. That shows you the cruelty of this goddamn devil, man.
Yep.
And then that's what helped build up and finance the Roman Empire at that time too.
Mm-hmm.
All of the treasures and money that they took.
From the temple. Yep.
Then I think it was Ayathan. Elder Ayathan was bringing out a point. He said because they were starving themselves to death and they was eating each other's kids, the dead kids. They were eating the leather shoes, the trees. They was eating
leaves off the trees.
Leaves off the trees. They was eating
their leather girdles,
gold, the rubies, diamonds. So you had the fucking Arabs. They would after the aftermath, they would come and cut the Jake's bellies open to retrieve the fucking whatever was of worth, whatever gold or whatever they could find. Because they knew that they were eating eating everything. Because they were starved out in that siege. That was a heavy period, man. And then for it's gonna get worse now than what it was back then. Man.
Which the Lord thy power hath given thee in the siege, and then when they had nothing else to eat, they had to eat their children. You know? It says, which the Lord thy power hath given thee in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that the man
remember thy enemies.
Yep.
This so-called white man is not your friend. He wasn't your friend during the Roman Empire, and he damn sure ain't your friend now.
Gone. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left in him in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. These are curses that came upon us. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward.
Back then, the Israelite women were high maintenance women, man.
Yep.
You know, they were
classy.
They were in their power. When Israel was in their power, man, they looked at themselves as the greatest people on the planet Earth, which they were.
Yeah.
It says, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward the children which she shall bear. For she shall.
And that alone right there, I'm sorry, Apostle, that right there show you,
and you got to stay about
that we're the Israelites, man. Because who else is being so evil to the child that's in their womb?
Shit, even the sea monster draw out the breast.
Right? They did a statistic. They said the worst place for a black man to be is inside the womb of a black woman. So you got all these people hooting and hollering about these women, but this is what the scriptures say, and that's the curse that the Lord said was going to happen to us.
But that's talking about during the seas when they hated their children so much that they ate them.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you bring it up
to date, all these women are getting them fucking abortions, man.
Yep.
But yet you want to praise.
We as a people are completely out of order, man. Completely out of order.
That's right.
Yeah, because that's like a form too. That abortion. That's like a form of sacrificing your child to Molech. Because they're killing the children. It says, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy power, then Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will make thy plagues wonderful.